All right, we're live, ladies and gentlemen. We're live. Shout out to everybody today. Oh my goodness. This is your boy, Hassan Phillip, aka What You Need. If you want to subscribe to my channel, you can. You can also donate to my channel via Western Union or MoneyGram. All donations are welcome. So, there are two titles to this video. But actually, I'm going to talk about a number of different things. I'm going to try not to talk too long. All right, so let's start off with the greatest welterweight in the history of boxing. When anybody asks that question, the names that pop to mind are like Sugar Ray Robinson, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, you know. But in my opinion, the greatest welterweight of all time is none of those guys. There are a lot of great welterweights. Jose Napoles, Carmen Basilio, etc. But to me, the greatest welterweight of all time, in my opinion, has to do with somebody who actually was at welterweight and did great things at welterweight. It wasn't just, you're looking at accumulation of, all that they accomplished, even though you could do that as well. For me, the greatest welterweight of all time will always go to Henry Armstrong. I'm going to tell you guys why. Henry Armstrong, we're talking only welterweight accomplishments in this point in time, won the welterweight title from Barney Russ, okay, back in 1937. Now, this is coming off the fact that he won the featherweight title, but a couple months before, and he went on to win the lightweight title against, I believe it was Lou Ambers, a couple months after. So in the same year, he won 3 world titles. This is not normally the case. It doesn't happen so much, but Canelo Alvarez, when he goes to face Sergey Kovalev, will be sort of accomplishing that in a sort of way, in that he'll be winning 3 versions of 3 different divisional titles. Not in the manner that Henry Armstrong has done it, but in a sort of way. I'll explain. So, first of all, Henry Armstrong won 3 divisional titles in 3 full proper weight classes. What I mean is there's no super or junior attached to the weight class. So he won the featherweight world title, which is a 126-pound title, okay? And then he went on to win the welterweight world title. That's the 147-pound title. And then he went on to win the lightweight world title. That is the 135-pound title. So he won in 3 of the original weight classes. The full weight class. We call it the full weight class. There are partial weight classes. What Canelo's going to go do is he's going to win in 2, if he wins, in 2 of the full weight classes. He would have won a world title at middleweight this year. He would have also, was it this year? No, it would be in the space of a year because it was in 2018, but it would be in the space of a year. He won the middleweight world title, okay, the unified middleweight world title against Gennady Golovkin, which is a version of the title. He has 2 of the possible 4 titles needed to become undisputed. That's in a full weight class. And he's going to strive to also win the light heavyweight title, which is another full weight class, one of the original weight classes, against Sergey Kovalev. Now, the difference, there's many differences, but one of the differences is that he has won, first of all, a partial title which is not the real champion he faced, but a paper champion in the super middleweight division against Rocky Fielding, the WBA regular title. Now, it's not the real champion. The real champion is Callum Smith. And the division is not one of the original divisions, or it is a partial division, meaning it is super middleweight. Once you hear super or junior attached to the weight class, then it's not a full weight class. Shout out to Boxing Monster. What's up, my brother? So he did not there's a number of caveats to this, but nonetheless, the other thing is Canelo is not winning an undisputed world title. Now, there are many different factors to it. One of them is that, one, it's harder to be undisputed today than it was of yesteryear because you have so many different world titles that come together to become undisputed. Back in the day, when you're talking about guys like Henry Armstrong, to win the undisputed title, you only needed to have two belts from two sanctioning bodies. It was the NBA and it was the NYSAC, the New York State Athletic Commission. Usually the two belts were together. They were not separated. So generally speaking, the guy who was the champion of the division would win the two belts for somebody else. But on occasion, you would have a version of the title, as in the case where also Henry Armstrong he drew in a fight against Seferino Garcia for a middleweight title, which was acknowledged as a world title. It was actually the California middleweight title, but it was seen as a world title at the time, a version of the world title at the time. And so he fought Seferino Garcia. He did not beat him. You know, some people thought he beat him. But he fought him for the middleweight title. So Henry Armstrong did all of that. But that's not the point that I'm looking at. I'm looking at what he actually did at welterweight. If you're talking about the greatest welterweight of all time, then the focus is on welterweight, not on the other weight classes. And one of the things Henry Armstrong was able to successfully do was he was able to defend his welterweight title 19 times, having no draws in that, just winning straight. He was on a winning streak, while he also was able to win the other world titles that I'm talking about. So he was fighting at lightweight. He lost at lightweight during that time. And he also fought at middleweight at that time. He never really defended his featherweight title. I think he won it against Baby Arizmendi. I think. The featherweight. I can't remember. But here's the other set of information that you need to understand. He not only defended a title 19 times successfully, which has not been accomplished by any welterweight since then, in a row. I'm talking about winning streak in a row. But also, he was able to have, out of those 19 wins, a very high knockout ratio. In fact, I think it's only 3 fights in which he did not knock out his opponent. And we're talking about opponents who are sure Hall of Famers like, Lou Jenkins and Baby Arizmendi and, great fighters, great fighters we're talking about. So he was able to knock them out. Now, there's a caveat to it. He had some rematches with some of these guys. And some of them he had multiple times. So that is a caveat in there. But, he fought a lot of pretty good opposition who wasn't Hall of Famers, but they were pretty good opposition. And he was able to stop them. There's another caveat to it, so I'm going to put it in. Most of the guys that he did fight were not necessarily full-fledged welterweights. They actually came up in weight with him. Baby Arizmendi was the guy that was at featherweight. And he moved up to welterweight, and Henry Armstrong faced him. Seferino Garcia, he was a welterweight, but he moved up to middleweight, and Henry Armstrong faced him. So there's some caveats to it. Of course, he still was outweighed by quite a lot against a lot of other welterweights. But the point is, that there were caveats to his wins, okay? It was smaller guys, basically, he was facing at welterweight. But to the credit If you look at Floyd Mayweather, if you look at Manny Pacquiao's career, um, even if you look at Sugar Ray Robinson's career, they also did the same thing. Floyd facing Miguel Cotto coming up from super lightweight, okay, much bigger weight class than Floyd originally came up from, which was super featherweight. But you know, um, Cotto came up. He was not a true welterweight. He started off as a super lightweight. Um, you had also Manny Pacquiao coming up from fucking flyweight, and he faced guys who were not true welterweights. Okay, most of the guys he faced weren't true welterweights. Shane Mosley came up from lightweight. Oscar De La Hoya came up from super featherweight, like Floyd. He didn't spend much time there. You also had guys like Antonio Margarito came up from welterweight. He fought him at super welterweight, but he was really a welterweight. That started off. And so when you really look at these opponents that both Floyd and Pacquiao faced, you find very few true welterweights. The only true welterweights that Floyd actually fought was his last really reputable, recognizable fight against Andre Berto, he was a true welterweight. Andre Berto's a true welterweight, walks around 160 something. He's a true welterweight. And then you had also Carlos Baldomir, who Floyd faced, who was a true welterweight. Everybody else that Floyd faced in his welterweight career, which is quite star-studded. I mean, he had, what, is it 12 or 14 welterweight fights? It's really impressive. And I believe he also, is it 12 or 14, or is it probably less? I know he had some super welterweight fights as well. But it's pretty impressive. But again, the other problem with Floyd and the other problem with some of these other guys is that they had these partial weight classes. So you had the super welterweight weight class. There wasn't he never fought at middleweight. You know what I mean? He fought at super featherweight. He never fought at featherweight. He fought at lightweight. Okay, I give him that. He fought at welterweight, but he never fought. He fought at super lightweight, and so on. These additional weight classes are not the full-fledged weight classes. Having said all of that, he had a remarkable welterweight career as well, fighting the who's who. I mean, he got more who's who, I think, and more Hall of Famers he faced at welterweight than probably Henry Armstrong. But nonetheless, I do believe that Henry Armstrong's accomplishment, just at face value, is surpasses Floyd's because of just how many defenses he had. Of the undisputed title, there was only one champion, so he had a lot of defenses against pretty good fighters who not Hall of Famers, but they were pretty good fighters. So I thought Henry Armstrong nicked it out ahead of Floyd. Pacquiao also has a ridiculous resume at welterweight. It just baffles your mind. He has a crazy welterweight resume, and he matches up somewhat with Floyd. There are caveats to Pacquiao's wins, but once again, Manny Pacquiao not really facing true welterweights in the welterweight division. You think of Oscar De La Hoya wasn't a true welterweight. Shane Mosley wasn't a true welterweight. He faced Joshua Clottey. Now, Joshua Clottey was a true welterweight. So Joshua Clottey, he faced a true welterweight in Joshua Clottey. Miguel Cotto wasn't a true welterweight. Who did he face after that? Timothy Bradley wasn't a true welterweight. Marlon Marquez wasn't a true welterweight. Chris Algieri wasn't a true welterweight. Jesse Vargas wasn't a true welterweight. It's just his last fight. Keith Thurman was a true welterweight. That's about it. Adrian Broner wasn't a true welterweight. Lucas Matisse wasn't a true welterweight. So Jeff Horn. Did Jeff Horn start a welterweight? I don't know. Jeff Horn may have been a true welterweight. He was bigger than welterweight. Obviously, he's now at middleweight. But I'm going to have to check out Jeff Horn. But the point being, these guys not facing really true welterweights. All right? And Pacquiao's fights with true welterweights, they're tough fights. Now, Mayweather with true welterweights, also tough fights. Can't stop them, nothing. But he outboxed them. With Pacquiao, it was close with Keith Thurman. Close fight with Keith Thurman. It was a close fight with Joshua Clottey. He blew out of the water. But I think that's it. Joshua Clottey. I have to check out Jeff Horn. He lost to Jeff Horn. Again, I think because he was a true welterweight, the size and the way he imposed his size, he made it rough and rugged on Pacquiao. You make it rough and rugged on Pacquiao, you impose your size. You saw it with also with over this weekend, Regis Prograis and Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor making it rough and rugged for Prograis on the inside helped him to get the win. That's what made him win the fight. Which leads me to another topic that I'm going to talk about. It's a pretty hot topic. Gervonta Davis calling out Josh Taylor, talking about he could stop him. That's very intriguing, I must say. Gervonta Davis has now moved up to lightweight, and he's a big lightweight. He was a big super featherweight, and that's an intriguing fight. Josh Taylor versus Gervonta Davis. I know a lot of you guys right now are thinking to yourselves, he's clout chasing or something. No, I think he's really serious about it because he probably watched what Prograis was successful at, knowing that he's sharper, faster, quicker than Prograis is, and that he got more tools in the tool bag. I think he realizes this is a guy that he could scrap with. And I've seen Gervonta constantly, he was throwing riffs at Terrence Crawford and all these bigger guys, and I'm thinking to myself, this guy's going to try and move up in weight very soon. I think he's talking like that, not just to clout chase, but he's literally intending to go up in weight very soon to super lightweight. And so that's why he's starting to set the tone for that. I think he's very serious about it. And that's pretty interesting because that challenge trumps a Lomachenko challenge for small reasons, but just in case Lomachenko doesn't stay at lightweight, or just in case Gervonta never gets the Lomachenko fight. That's a very good matchup for Gervonta. I fancy his chances against a fighter like that, even though he just came up from super feather. I think a lot of people, again, do not understand boxing. So a lot of them think it's ludicrous what Gervonta is saying and he's just clout chasing, but it's not. You got to think about the fact that, these guys are going down in weight. What I mean by that is they're losing a lot of weight to be in a weight class. Gervonta was losing a lot of weight to be at super featherweight. And he had to live a disciplined life, which he wasn't doing. He would just balloon up. I think Gervonta walks around 160 something. He's a big eater like Adrian Broner. You look at him, they pack in pounds. They small, but they very compact. And then you look at Adrian Broner's father, which is like a big old fucking, like, tremendous big dude, and even Adrian Broner right now, he looked like he walked around 160 something, right? So these guys are big dudes that are in small weight classes. And we have to really acknowledge that. The reason Gervonta Davis' power is so effective is because he's really a big dude in a smaller weight class. I always talked about Roberto Duran and lightweight, and the fact that Roberto Duran, for those of you who don't know, Duran actually fought mostly at super lightweight in between his lightweight fights. And there's a reason why he did that. He couldn't maintain the lightweight weight all the time. And he also had weight issues later on in his career. And that's mainly because these are big, massive, powerful guys with massive frames. You look at Gervonta Davis, you look at his neck, you look at his muscles, you look at his back, you look at Canelo Alvarez, neck, muscles, back. Look at these motherfuckers. They're broad backs, big necks. They're big dudes. They got big frames, right? But they're able to make weight, right? What do they come in on fight night? That's the question you have to ask yourself. That's what they really fight at. And you look at, Canelo, you look at Gervonta Davis, you look at Adrian Broner, you look at, all of these other guys that I talk about, like Errol Spence. And now we're hearing Terrence Crawford's pretty big. I don't know how true that is, but I don't think he's 177. He's saying he's 177. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see him being 177. He's what, 5'9", 5'8". I don't see him being 177. But he walk around with a lot of weight. If he's in shape, Terrence Crawford is not 177. Not fighting shape necessarily, but just shape. He not 177. But he be eating. But he need to stay on point. He need to stay near the welterweight limit. Errol Spence need to do the same thing. Them boys need to keep themselves disciplined. Sean Porter keeps his weight in check. Sean Porter walks around probably, 15 pounds shy of 147. So he walk around 150 something, probably. Maybe even go up 160 something. But he stay in shape and he always in the gym. So I'm guessing that he's able to shave off all that weight because he's constantly active in the gym, constantly doing different things. And so, but I know he's a big dude, and making it down to 147 is something that they figured out the science for. But I'm saying all of this to say to you guys that Henry Armstrong, was a small dude, and that when we look at guys like Gervonta Davis calling out Josh Taylor, it's not as surprising as if you were looking at a throwback fight. And even in throwback fights, I learned that the same day weigh-ins, if it was in the morning, these guys put on 7 pounds hydration water. They put back on 7 pounds by the time they end fight night, 7 to 15 pounds. Because by the time you rehydrate, you put on a lot more weight. So, you know, with Marcus Maidana, he ain't hyperhydrated. So he started off 165. By the end of the fight, it was 150 something against the first fight against Floyd. And Pacquiao also came in. He would come in pretty heavy. You know, when he was fighting that super feather, he weighed 140 something pounds on fight night. People didn't know that. But super feather, you supposed to be 130. You know, at featherweight 126 and stuff like that. But he come in good weight because you hydrate afterwards. So there's a lot of things people don't understand about boxing, but it is what it is. So when I talk about Gervonta Davis, he's a big dude. He could fight super lightweight probably tomorrow. You know, because he's a big dude, really. He's able to make the weight in the lower weight classes. That's why you're hearing Gary Russell saying I can move up to lightweight and face Gervonta Davis. These guys walk around. You listen to Abner Mars. I think he walk around 140 something. So Abner Mars, he could also make lightweight. That's why Abner Mars was like, yeah, I can make lightweight tomorrow. And the other thing that people don't understand is it's the sparring. What sparring you get can also help you to deal with the weight class that you're going up into, you know. And so there's a lot of things that people don't realize about these fights. But going back to what I was talking about, the greatest welterweight in the world, because I'm moving around touching other topics while I'm talking about this. So why Henry Armstrong? Well, like I said before, he faced 3 to 4 Hall of Famers while defending that welterweight title 19 times, okay, successfully. And he stopped a very high percentage of those fights. Like I said, about 3 or 4, he was able to, they went the distance with him, you know. And we're talking about Hall of Famers like Barney Ross, Lou Feldman, Baby Rismendi, you know, very good fighters like Davey Day and so forth. Seferino Garcia, another Hall of Famer. So I'm just saying that, you know, he did some remarkable things. And I think that his welterweight reign as undisputed welterweight champion of the world, there was no doubt he was the man to beat, was quite impressive. Okay, quite impressive. Going back to Canelo versus Kovalev for a minute. So I think that Canelo, he's trying to duplicate that in some sort of version of way. It's not the same because, one, he's not going to be undisputed. Not that it matters, but it's still something that you know, if he could even approximately match that by being the WBA WBC champion, then you could call him in that respect, match it up to Henry Armstrong. Now, the thing with Canelo that he like put in a lot more work with less fights. So let me give you an example of what I mean. He became the unified WBC WBA 154 pound champion. All right, that's no small feat. And that's like equivalent to undisputed back in the day with Henry Armstrong, because the sanctioning bodies that were back then were the WBC and WBA. So in a way, he's like undisputed at 154. The thing about it is he lost that title to Floyd Mayweather. He never regained any other titles because he never fought for any other titles at 154. I think he actually fought for the WBO later on against Liam Walsh, I think it was. But he never really fought for any other titles after that. He fought Erislandy Lara after pressure from Erislandy Lara to face him. And I think he then fought a lot of fights at catch weights at 155. He wouldn't stay in the 154 division. So that kind of fucked up his 154 career in a way, I think. Even though most of those fights were, yeah. Then he fought Miga Cotto, who was the WBC champion for the middleweight championship of the world. A lot of people talked and said, man, that crazy shit right there. Why are you fighting at a catchweight like that? But Cotto and Canelo were cool with it, so it happened. He was stripped of the title. That's when I think he faced William Morris. Then he went up and he faced Gennady Golovkin for the middleweight championship of the world. First fight. Second fight, he had 2 fights with him. The second fight, he beat him to get the WBC, WBA titles. So once again, you could say in a way he was the undisputed middleweight champion. If you're thinking WBC, WBA, which is the original version of that is the NYSAC and the NBA. So in that respect, he got that. And then he got the IBF after from Danny Jacobs. But then he moves up and he faces Rocky Fielding for the WBA regular. Now, why I don't respect the WBA regular, I don't consider it a championship belt, it's like an academic thing, is because the real champion was Callum Smith. He was the super champion, but he's the real champion. The super champion is the real champion. And so it's really just a paper title. It would have been a version, if he had fought the super champion, of the undisputed championship, because once again, if you're thinking about it in the context of Henry Armstrong and all these other guys, it would have been a version of it. It would have been the NBA title. But he did not really face the real champion. He faced the paper champion. Which, I mean, what does that mean? But this is what they're promoting, which is the WBA champion Rocky Fielding. So this is where Henry Armstrong comes up. Henry Armstrong was I think he was the greatest welterweight of all time because of the accomplishments I said that he did. Not Sugar Ray Robinson, not Floyd Mayweather, not Manny Pacquiao. Those guys did other things outside, but nothing on the level of a Henry Armstrong, in my opinion. And Henry Armstrong would fight, I think he would fight a number of fights back to back in the same year. Not to say that that's a great thing, but that, he was able to stay undefeated during that time. I know there were much more. And these were pretty much, reputable champions we're talking about, okay? Or reputable guys. Now, back to what I was saying about Canelo. So Canelo, he didn't really win a world, in my opinion. He didn't face the real champion at 168. Nonetheless, the paper championship title is what they're using. Now he's going up to light heavyweight. The thing about this is he would have accomplished winning 3 titles, even though one is a paper championship title. He would have won 3 titles simultaneously if he could win against Sergey Kovalev. Now, the only thing about it is it's the WBO belt. So it's the least prestigious of all the belts. It's not a WBC, WBA, so I can't even say he's going to be undisputed or anything. It's not a version of the undisputed title, the original. So he's going to be winning what we call a side belt. It's still going to be considered a championship belt because Kovalev is basically the #1 light heavyweight in the world. And it's really Kovalev that's more important than the belt. But at the same time, this accomplishment, again, is a version of the undisputed title, if you're thinking in modern terms, what the International Boxing Hall of Fame considers undisputed champion. It's just one of 4 belts. All right. The real dude in the division is really Arthur Beterbiev, who has the WBC and IBF titles. The WBC and IBF titles. Beterbiev has the WBA. All right? Not Beterbiev, Bivol. I truly believe that if Canelo decides to stay at 175 because he beat Sergey Kovalev quite handily and quite well, that he could pull off the undisputed there. If he couldn't pull it off at middleweight, maybe he can pull it off at light heavyweight. It'll be much tougher because it's much bigger guys. I think these guys also have some good skill. But the problem with it is, I think that in terms of the most skilled and talented fighters, actually, I think that there are more skilled, talented fighters at 160, aka Demetrius Andrade and Jamal Charlo. And even at 168, Caleb Plant and Billy Joe Saunders. Then there are at 175. I think that Dimitri Bivol is a fantastic fighter, but I don't think he's on the level of a Billy Joe Saunders or Caleb Plant or Demetrius Andrade. I just don't think so. I think he's good at mid-range to outside fighting. Fantastic. I think he's got some he's kind of mono-talented in terms of being able to fight not only in multiple ranges, but also use different techniques, whether it's bobbing and weaving and slipping and sliding and that kind of stuff. He's kind of mono talented in that respect. And I think that's a guy that Canelo can beat. It's not going to be easy because he throws combinations and he does find his slots in your defense. But I think Canelo can beat him. But he is probably the easier of the two. Beterbiev is a sharpshooter. Beterbiev takes his time. He stays composed. He works behind strategy and plan. He uses his strength, his power, his size as his advantage. He can fight off the back foot, the front foot. He has a better head movement than Bivol does. He's slower than all the other champions out there, including Sergey Kovalev. He's slower, but he's very methodical. He gets hit, but he does use his defense to get to navigate past punches. Uses the high guard, comes in stalking, kind of like a swarmer. But yet his strategy is to keep his head off center. Because he's so slow, he sometimes can't move off center quick enough. He's strong, so he can take some of those punches. But at the same time, he's very methodical, very skillful in that respect, very methodical in how he goes about cutting off the ring and getting opponents to go a certain direction. And then, throwing his punches, being defensively responsible at the same time. It's just that he's so fucking slow. Sometimes he can't get back into position fast enough. But he's a tricky guy. He really has a good sense of timing. He places his punches very well. He uses positioning. So his thing is positioning. That's how he is able to keep his defense tight. How he positions his body is what helps him not to get tagged up a whole ton, because it's about trying to find the right angle. And he does that pretty well. That's why he doesn't get tagged up more than he gets tagged up. He does try to keep his defense tight. He kind of has to be strong, but he's slow. So that's the problem with Beterbiev. He's slow. He puts more intensity, but he's still slow compared to a Canelo, a Bivol. They're faster. Is he an inside fighter? Not really. He's a mid-range fighter. Very good at that. He can outbox a little bit. But when he gets on the inside, what he does is he uses roughhouse tactics. He uses forearm. He uses shoulder. He'll rough you up on the inside. He lands some good body punches, but mostly he'll rough you up. He'll bang you to the back of the head, rabbit punches, and all kinds of shit. He'll bang you in the clinch. But he's not really an inside fighter. He needs space to throw his punches. So he is the typical Eastern European fighter in that he's a mid-range fighter. But he'll rough you up on the inside to deter you from clinching. Canelo is different to those guys. He is an inside fighter. Like most Mexican fighters, they can fight on the inside. He is a guy that can fight in 3 ranges. But he's not as good on the outside as he is at mid-range and on the inside. That's his forte. He reminds me of James Toney and Mike McCallum in that respect. He's not really an outboxer. You can outbox if he needs to, but he's not really that dude. And you can see that. But he can do it all. And that is a big factor in what can help him to ride with all those guys. Beterbiev is very strong, however, and he punches very hard. He has very heavy hands. He's better than, I think, Gennady Golovkin defensively. So that makes it for a very interesting fight if Canelo were to face him. And he's much bigger than Triple G. He's much bigger. He's not really a one-punch knockout artist like Kovalev has seemed to be. But he is slow. So that will work in Canelo's favor. And Canelo's a fighter, so he will fight him sort of like toe-to-toe, especially on the inside. So it could be an interesting matchup for Canelo. As you guys know, I already believe that Canelo will beat Sergey Kovalev by stopping him. And this former trainer, not John David Jackson, but the guy that was helping him, they wanted Kovalev to learn inside fighting. And Kovalev resisted that. Kovalev is going to endeavor to fight Canelo on the outside. He's going to try to keep him off mid-range to outside fighting, which is the typical Eastern European approach to things. I think that is going to be a problem. They think they have something there, Buddy Gert and him, and I wish them the best of luck. But you must, in boxing, be able to fight on the inside. It is a very important tool that Andre Ward learned, even though he didn't like it, he didn't want to do it. It came in handy. And all great fighters need to know how to do that. Manny Pacquiao has been beaten by Jeff Horn because he did not know how to deal with Jeff Horn on the inside. That's why he was beaten. Sergey Kovalev will need to impose his size. When Canelo comes on the inside, he'll need to stiff arm him. He'll need to push down on his head. He'll need to forearm him. He'll need to push him off. These are not Marcus of Queensberry rules, but he will need to be dirty. As dirty as he can. Rabbit punch him. Do whatever you can to make sure Canelo does not work on the inside. He's going to have to use every single tactic he knows. Clinch him, lock him up in the head. You're going to have to fight Canelo. You can't just box him. You will have to fight him outside of boxing. You're going to have to use outside of boxing rules to keep Canelo from going on the inside and working. It's just what you have to do. Because it's going to be a cat and mouse game when it comes to that body. But aside from that, I do believe that this fight is going to be interesting in the sense that I actually like the honesty of Sergey Kovalev. He's a very honest guy. He gives you exactly what he's thinking. He does not lie. And when I was watching the interview when they came to Las Vegas with him, he spoke in a manner that was very honest. He didn't say definitively, I will win this fight. He never said anything like that. He also said that the Crusher's days are over and he's looking to have a different approach, which is boxing. I personally think he needs to bring back the Crusher. He needs to bring back the Crusher to exert his dominance on Canelo. To let Canelo know, I got some mustard here. You don't even try to come in there because I got mustard. Buddy's saying he's got heavy hands and he should box behind those heavy hands. I understand all of that, but he's going to need to bring back the Crusher. That's the only way Canelo's going to respect him. And respect distance, because Canelo's going to get in on the inside very easily. If Kovalev thinks he's going to outbox Canelo on the outside, he's just going to box him with the jab. You need to put something sizable down on Canelo. Let him know, hey, there's a different weight class. He doesn't do that. And I'm the king of this weight class. He does not do that early. If you think of Floyd versus Pacquiao, for example, Floyd put something on Pacquiao immediately. He put some heat on Pacquiao. He wanted Pacquiao to know, because he's trying to maintain range, right? He wanted him to know, if you come in, I'm going to light your ass up. Okay? Kovalev need to do that to Canelo. He needs Canelo to immediately respect him in terms of range. So he's going to have to put some heat behind his punches immediately. That's the only way he's going to slow down the inevitable. Otherwise, Canelo is not going to respect that power and all his jabs, and he's just going to walk him down. We're going to have a Rocky Fielding day early. Now, a Rocky Fielding fight is going to happen somewhere around, I think, the second, third rounds. But Canelo started to demolish him. But I do not think that Canelo early, if Kovalev put some heat on his punches, if Canelo's going to just walk in there, he's going to realize. I mean, Canelo's going to respect his power regardless. But I do believe if he's just trying to jab Canelo and then follow up with a right to the body and that kind of shit, Canelo's going to break him down fast. Okay, Canelo's going to break him down fast. You guys are talking about a jab to the body and jab Canelo to the body. You don't understand. Canelo has great torso movement. You're not going to land something flush on Canelo to his body. Gennady Golovkin couldn't land body shots for a reason. Okay, this boy do James Toney shit. Okay, he moves his whole entire torso. He can torque his whole entire upper body and all his entire lower body as well. So you trying to get hip punches on him, he roll that shit. And he's still coming at you. He'll creep in, and he creeps in on you, and then all you know is like Andy Ruiz with Anthony Joshua, he'd be taking you out. So if he thinks he's just going to jab Canelo, and use boxing, that shit not going to work. He's going to have to punish him with something. He's going to have to make him feel something. Even if Canelo blocked the punch, you got to put some mustard on that shit early. So Canelo could feel the thudding power, feel the power of Kovalev. He don't feel that shit. He not gonna respect you because he got defense. So he's not even worried about what you could bring to the table. He's not worried about you. He's worried about what he's supposed to do and what he's supposed to get done. And he's very good at what he does. He's been doing it for like 14 years. Okay, he's been doing it for 14 years. You now learning shit to adjust to him. Okay, so he sees you as food. you saying, oh, I'm ready for him. You ain't ready for shit. Okay, he's seeing you as food. Okay, he see you as an easy meal. Okay, now he won't say that. He's not going to think that per se. He's going to look for the best Kovalev. He's going to look for a tough, hard fight, like Errol Spence said, and all these other guys. But at the end of the day, they already sized you up. There's a reason why they picked you, and it's not because you fading. It's not because it's none of that shit. It's because you're vulnerable to the body, and they know it. Everybody knows it. They know this shit. And a lot of guys making excuses and shit and all this about, he can't infight. He cannot infight. He don't know what the fuck to do once you get on the inside. He knows how to hold you. He know the usual things, to throw the jab, throw the jab, throw the... That motherfucker better know, because I'm telling you, when he starts to get beat up, he gonna forget the jab. He gonna forget everything, and he just be gonna try and cover up his body. Okay, that's all he gonna do. We saw it with Anthony Yard. We'll see it with Canelo, and we'll see it earlier. Okay, and then the beatdown will begin. Okay, so I'm trying to let people know that this is not one of those fights where, like I said before, it looked like a duck, it quacked like a duck. It is a duck. This is not one of those fights where it's, you think it's going to be a super competitive fight and, all the nuances, and Kovalev with his jab, and his jabs, exceptional jabs. Better to listen, man. Listen, that's smoke and mirrors. That's smoke and mirrors. Bob Arum was talking about the fight between Miguel Berchelt and Jason Sosa. And he said, it's not as high profile as Canelo versus Kovalev, but he thinks it's a better fight. He's right. It is a better fight. I still got Miguel Berchelt winning. But Jason Sosa has been a world champion, a WBA world champion at that division. Berchelt is the WBC. He's gone through some names. And Jason Sosa has lost to Lomachenko. Okay, he was stopped. But he put up a good fight. I think that this fight with Miguel Berchelt is going to be a good fight. It's a better fight, I think. It's not as high profile, but it's a better fight than Sergio Kovalev versus Canelo. A lot of people go look at me like, you crazy, man. You going up a weight. What does that have to do with shit? He's not going up weight, really. He's not cutting weight. That's what was really going on. He's not cutting weight. So you can come in 175, 178. He's not going to be 180. I look at Canelo, in the pre-fight, and I realized that, that Canelo, he not big. He not big like people saying. What I mean by that is he didn't put on a whole set of mass. He just kept Canelo. He come in just like Canelo. He just be a big boy. Canelo always been a big boy, okay? But he's not that big as people think he is. He's not as big as people think he is. He's always been somewhere around 170, 175, okay? since super welterweight. Okay, Erislandy Lara, he come in 172, 173. Angulo, all his boys at 154, 170 pounders. Okay, so let's not play like Canelo. He always been this big dude. He's not. He's always been about 175, 170, 175. Okay, he always been that. Okay, this is why he can go up to lightweight, because he can actually make the light heavyweight limit. Okay, he not no big dude. You know. Hold on a second. Let me see what this brother say. Afro American thoughts. What's up, my brother? I have Kovalev for the upset. Bro, you wishing on a prayer, bro. You wishing on a prayer. You're wishing on a prayer. But hey, kudos to you, brother. Buddy McGirt got you guys believing stuff that ain't gonna happen. But hey, whatever. Y'all gonna see fight night. You'll see the truth. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that you know, a lot of people are rating up Kovalev's, you know, jab and his power and all that shit, and this has nothing to do with that. This is to do with boxing. You know, I mean, I try to help people understand. You know what? Let me put it to you this way. I'd be very pleasantly surprised if Kovalev could win. I like the dude. I like Kovalev. Listen, I like Kovalev. I really do. I like his honesty. I like how he's so grounded. I like that he does everything for himself. He pulls the rings. He trains on his own. He's motivated. He gonna be the best Kovalev y'all guys ever seen. I like the dude. I like Kovalev. Okay? I like Kovalev. I really like him. Canelo gonna stop him. Canelo's going to stop him. I'm sorry, guys. I hate saying this over and over again. But it is what it is. He cannot survive with Canelo on the inside. He's got nothing for Canelo on the inside. That's his weakness. He got no fucking defense on the inside. Defense wins you fights. This is a fight where Canelo's going to stop Kovalev. I've never said Canelo's going to stop an opponent. I think once I said Canelo, if he rematched Triple G the second time, he won't stop him. That's the only time I said that, because I knew he was just landing so many punches in Triple G. Triple G turned out to be a tough dude. Okay, he always been a tough dude. Kovalev's not. He proved this over and time again. You hit him to the body, and man, this dude, he falls over. Okay, it takes a couple rounds, but he does fall over. He's not gonna crumble immediately like Rocky Fielding. Oh, we hope so, at least. He's not gonna crumble like Rocky Fielding, but you know, he falls over. He's much better boxer than Rocky Fielding, so I expect Canelo's entry points to be a little bit more nuanced and tricky. But he's already handled this with better boxers than Kovalev, and y'all just don't understand. Y'all looking at the skin color, and y'all saying, "Oh man, this Eastern European fighter, man, he fight like a black American, so he good." Listen, man, Danny Jacob a better fucking fighter than Kovalev, man. Hands down. Hands down. Erislandy Lara, much better fighter than Sergey Kovalev. And he an outboxer. He exclusively fight on the outside. Canelo got to him. And we're talking about a Canelo with less experience. Less fucking experience than this Canelo. Y'all got to be tripping. Y'all saw Danny Jacobs throwing that beautiful jab from the southpaw and orthodox stance and hitting nothing. And he be trying to shoot the Canelo chest, and he ain't even hitting the shit. Come on, people. You serious? Like, really? Buddy can give the best game plan he ever gave to Sergey Kovalev. It's not going to help him in this fight. It's just because he's deficient. He's deficient of an essential skill you need to know in fighting. And the only way I'm trying to give him as much tips as he can, because he's gonna need every single thing. Because this gonna be like, ever heard of y'all remember Sugar Ray Robinson versus Jake LaMotta? Y'all remember the St. Patrick's Day massacre? This shit gonna be like that. It's gonna be ugly. This shit's gonna be ugly. And it's gonna be epically ugly. Y'all gonna think Canelo is the #1 light heavyweight in the world. And y'all gonna take away credit from Sergey Kovalev, and I'm gonna tell you right now, that man deserves every single credit he gets. This man deserves every single accolade and credit he gets. All right? But Canelo ain't that great. He ain't gonna do that. He's not gonna do that to Dimitri Bivol. He ain't gonna do it to Gavorzik. He ain't gonna do it to Battle. Fuck, he ain't gonna do that shit to Battle Jack. He's not doing that shit to Battle Jack at all because Battle Jack live on the inside. He know how to move on the inside. I love to see Canelo versus Battle Jack because I know Battle Jack can give him all kinds of shit. He ain't doing that to BWF. He ain't doing that shit, but he gonna do it to Kovalev. You hear what I'm saying? He gonna stop Kovalev. Listen, I'm not one of those guys. Everybody talking about Canelo don't have his power at other time. He never stopped nobody at lower weight. Listen, the difference with that is the guys that he faced at lower weight classes, they had iron bodies. Erislandy Lara has never been stopped to the body. Never. But in the fight against Canelo, that motherfucker fell. They said he slipped in the corner. The truth be told, he didn't have his legs. So he fell. Boy, suck it up. And in the 10th and 11th, he came back. But he fell. Okay? And I'm saying, when you're talking about Kovalev, I'm sorry. But he don't have an iron body. He just don't have it. And the reason he don't have it, and that's why Andre Ward beat him the second time more comprehensive than he did the first time, is because Andre Ward is not a better inside fighter than Canelo. He's just not. He got all-around game too. He better outboxer than Canelo, but he's not a better inside fighter, but he got all-around game. Okay? That don't mean that he wouldn't beat Canelo when they face each other because he's so physical as well. And he gonna have that size advantage on Canelo. He would beat Canelo on the inside or the outside because he's so much stronger than him. You know, he bigger and stronger than him, and he's a physical dude. He would clinch you and hit you still and rough you up on the inside. He have roughhouse tactics and shit. But as to whether, you know, Canelo Kovalev don't got no fucking inside game. How are you gonna win a fight if you? So once Canelo gets to the inside, it's a problem, and he's going to get to the inside. He done it against everybody he's faced. And we're talking about some excellent black boxers, slick fucking black boxers. He done it to them all. So to tell me he ain't going to get to the inside of Kovalev, what makes Kovalev different? What makes him different? Andre Ward got to the inside of Kovalev. You tell me Canelo won't? Yeah, Canelo going to take 1 or 2 shots to get to the inside. He's going to take it. He been sparring big guys. So, yeah, he going to take it. That's not going to stop him. You guys understand what I'm saying? The reason why Floyd was able to beat Pacquiao is because Pacquiao was limited. He's a mid-range fighter. He ain't going to do that shit to Sean Porter. Fuck no. He not doing that shit to Sean Porter. Sean Porter is an end fighter. Okay, y'all gotta understand this is boxing. I'm talking boxing. I'm not talking in fighters. That's what they do. They get to the inside. They know how to get to the inside. You're talking in fighters here. All right. You think Kovalev would have hit James Toney? You think Kovalev would have stopped James Toney from doing his work on the inside? You think Kovalev would have stopped if they were in the same weight class? Think about what I'm saying now. You think he would have stopped Julio Cesar Chavez from getting on the inside? Take James Toney, combine him with Julio Cesar Chavez, combine him with Alexis Arguello. No, sorry. Combine him with El Finito Lopez, and you got motherfucking Canelo. Y'all ain't understanding what we talk. Canelo schooled in his schooling, brother. He's schooled in a schooling. That's what he grew up doing. Getting to the inside against taller guys. Austin Trout, he ain't supposed to land that punch that drop Austin Trout. He's not supposed to do that. He wasn't supposed to be hitting Gennady Golovkin to the body. A devastating power puncher, power in both hands. Been breaking down everybody, stopping everybody. Danny Jacobs, you know, still getting his punches in on bigger, stronger Danny Jacobs. Couldn't touch Canelo in the first fight. Couldn't touch him. He couldn't touch him. And Canelo getting all his shots off until the 9th round. And then the 10th round. And Canelo started fighting back in the 11th and 12th. He couldn't touch him. Damn. Danny Jacobs. God damn it, man. Danny Jacobs, a great fighter. Fantastic. Couldn't touch Canelo. He couldn't touch him until later on in the fight. He touched him, but not early. Why is it you guys can't see this guy's track record and realize this guy's food for Canelo? Why you guys can't realize that shit? He food for Canelo. Man, y'all tripping. Y'all tripping. Y'all tripping. Y'all tripping. This is what it is. This is what exactly what you seeing is what it is. Y'all making it out to be something that's not, man. Afro-American Thought says, I know Canelo is better. I think people are writing Kovalev off a little too much. It's not that, bro. It's not that they're writing off Kovalev. Like I said, I like Kovalev. You know, I'm an older guy, so I would love Kovalev to win. But I'm a realist. I understand the reality of the situation. Right? Boxing Monster said, I got Canelo by split decision. This ain't going the distance, buddy. This ain't going the distance. I'm sorry. This is one fight that's not going the distance. Tangible Boxing says, Rocky Fielding actually has fanboys. It's not going to, it's just not going the distance. It's not going there, folks. You know. Buddy McGirt is an old drunk. Oh, Buddy is a hell of a trainer. Buddy's a hell of a trainer. I mean, Sergey, listen, if it was any other opponent, Sergey, well, not really. Okay, he faced out of Beterbiev. Beterbiev will knock him out. Okay, Beterbiev is a great body puncher as well. You know, Bivol is interesting. That would have been an interesting fight with Bivol because Kovalev would be able to use his jab, and would Bivol be able to get around that jab because Bivol uses feet. He don't really use his head so much. He slips some punches, but you know. Badu Jack versus Kovalev. I got Badu Jack. Badu Jack would knock him out. Beterbiev would knock him out. Badu Jack would knock him out. These are inside fighters. Notice, mid-range to inside fighters I'm talking about. Them boys would knock him out. Period. You know. Buddy McGirt's fighters are the best at taking absolute whippings. Not all of them. Not all of them. You know, Antonio Tarver, he the one that created history by knocking out Roy Jones Jr. You know, Buddy's trained a lot of great fighters, man. You know, just saying. He's a great trainer. Don't get me wrong. He thought Sugar Ray Leonard would beat Floyd Mayweather because he said Sugar Ray Leonard could fight. He's a great fighter. I just don't believe that shit. I don't even think Sugar Ray would beat Pernell Whitaker. And if Buddy thinks that Sugar Ray would beat Pernell Whitaker, he being biased, man. Because that ain't happening. By the way, I'm following up on the Clarissa Shields versus Terrence Crawford fight. I'm going to let you guys know what's happening with that a little later. African American Thought says Ward is strong. Oh, he's physically strong. That's the thing with Ward. He's physically strong, and that's what works for him on the inside. Andrew Ward is a great infighter. He beat Frutch and Abraham on the inside. Yes, sir. He beat Kovalev on the inside. You know, the only problem with Ward is sometimes he comes straight in. That's why he get caught with the jab. He comes straight in. He don't come in off an angle. And that's the difference between Ward and Canelo. Canelo will come off an angle. You know, Ward tried to, you know, speed in, you know, and use head movement. You can't do that with, that's why I said that actually Anthony Yarde did a better job getting to the inside of Kovalev with bobbing and weaving. Ward don't really bob and weave. You don't really see Ward bobbing. He dipped more than he bob and weave. Canelo do it to a science. Like you won't miss him by inches. You know, he shifts, he bobs and weaves, he dips, he swivels. You know, that's the shit that Canelo be doing. Andrew Ward is like Randy Orton on the inside. Who's Randy Orton? Teach me something. Nobody stops Julio. See, if you believe that Julio Cesar Chavez, if he was the same weight with Kovalev, in fact, I'm gonna go real old school on y'all. This is a fight that could possibly have happened. Roberto Duran versus Sergey Kovalev. Who you got? Roberto Duran versus Sergey Kovalev. You think Kovalev stops Roberto Duran? I'm not saying Canelo's on the level of a Roberto Duran. I'm just saying I don't even think that Canelo actually borrows from Roberto Duran much. But do you think that Canelo would? Do you think that Roberto Duran, Kovalev stands a chance against him? I think he does, but I mean, I'm just asking you guys. Now think of Iron Barkley versus Roberto Duran, then think of Sergey Kovalev versus Roberto Duran. Remember, Iron Barkley could do a little bit of everything. He could fight on the inside, he could fight on the outside, right? He could do a little bit of everything. Kovalev, he ain't got no fucking inside game. So imagine what Roberto Duran would do him. Just think about what I'm saying first before you go into it, because there's a possibility that Kovalev could have knocked his ass out based on the fact that Roberto Duran was stopped by Thomas the Hitman Hearns, who also was weak to the body. So think about what I'm saying before you say, "Oh, Roberto Duran all the way." No, don't just say that. All right, think about what I'm saying first. Afro-American Thought says, "I want to see Andre versus Canelo." Fuck yeah, bro. That's listen. When you're talking about real fights, Demetrius Andre versus Canelo is a real fight. That's a real. Listen, man, the Kovalev fight's cool, but Andre versus Canelo and Saunders versus Canelo. I hope Andre faces Saunders or Charlo, man. You know, even the Charlo versus Canelo. I mean, Charlo is a dude that live off the jab, so he'll get a rude awakening with Canelo. In that respect, he wanted to fight Canelo on the inside. He does fight on the inside pretty good too, but Intangible Boxing said Canelo Alvarez is garbage. Can't face one very good fighter without losing 4 or 5 rounds. Boxing Monster, Boo Boo is doo doo. No, what? You serious? Are you serious? African American Thought says, nah, boxing politics get in the way of fighters like Andre reaching or showing their potential. Man, he gotta get a good fight though. He gotta get a good fight. He can't be fighting. Who is he fighting? I can't remember. Some Simon guy, some James Simon or some shit like that. That's whacked. That's whack as hell. He said he's staying busy. That's exactly what that is. It's a stay busy fight, man. Intangible Boxing, according to Jalik, Boo Boo is number 4 pound for pound. You can't be so high up the pound for pound rankings fighting cab drivers, man. Boxing Monster, Roy Jones was past his time. Roy Jones versus Sergey Kovalev would have been a good fight too. I got Jones all day, every day. Then again, let me think about it. Yeah, I got Jones every day, every day. Yeah, I haven't beaten Sergey. I might be. Let me think about that. They were both guys who were outboxers. I wonder if Sergey could do it. Tarver did it. Maybe he could beat Roy. I'm thinking about it. I gotta think about it. Roy was fast though. Sergey would have eaten some shots. And Roy had a nasty left hook. And then he didn't telegraph his punches. Then he didn't really use the jab. That would be an interesting fight. I think Roy would have beaten Sergey Kovalev. I'm not 100% sure. Some of you were like, what? You serious? Andre had to brawl with Kovalev because he couldn't outbox him due to Kovalev's length. Yeah, he was roughhousing him on the inside, and you know, when Kovalev would grab his arm, he would work with the other arm. So he fought him. Tangible Boxing says, Duran in 2001 at light heavyweight when he was fat would KO Kovalev in 3 rounds. Boxing Master says, Duran by KO over Kovalev. You might be surprised. Kovalev might KO Duran. It depends. If he faced the Crusher, he might have gotten KO'd because he would have to get to the inside. And if he was sloppy at light heavyweight, you know, he was kind of big and heavy and shit like that. He only was at light heavyweight a couple times. He would have gotten knocked the fuck out because he was sloppy and like kind of, I don't know, man. I don't know. I know if he fought him at super middleweight or at middleweight, it'd be a totally different fight. But at light heavy, I don't know. Kovalev's jab, not lengths. Because, you know, remember Thomas Hearns, he was sluggish there too. Got knocked out. Andrew Wood is a great wrestler. WWF. That's part of infighting, though. Jostling for position. It's a lost art, man. Andrew will sometimes you're clinging to Andrew's arm. He can work with the other arm and that kind of shit. You mix arms, you slip his hand out and stuff like that. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. I think Canelo beats Jamal because I think Jamal is too basic for Canelo, but Canelo has a monster jab. Exactly. I agree with that. I agree with that. Charlo can fight on the inside. Don't get me wrong. He did it against that kid. What's his name? Who faced him? But he depends too much on his jab. I think. You see, that's the thing. A lot of people say always go to the jab, the jab, the jab, the jab. They teach that, but there's a lot of other things you need to have, not just a jab. A jab is cool. I mean, Charlo does pivot with his jab, but you have to have good footwork with the jab. You also got to have good feints with your jab. And then you can't just live off your jab. Sometimes you have to live off your feints. Sometimes you have to live off your defense. Let the guy come in on you and just have a good defense so you can counter him. And so there's a lot of other things you have to have, not just a good jab. Charlo does have a good jab, a powerful jab, and he times his jab pretty well and stuff. But Intangible Boxing says Kovalev has a 0% at beating Roy. No chance, not even a punch. Because you think Roy was too fast for him. It's too quick for him. And Roy had some ridiculous reflexes. By the time Kovalev threw that jab and he trying to throw that right behind that jab, Roy done tag him up with a left hook. He'd probably triple up the left hook to the body and head. Kovalev be going down on a body punch. Because Roy was good with the body punching. So I could see it. Double up top, boop, boop, and then big below. Boom! You see Kovalev go down and just be clinching. I could see that happening. And Roy would pivot out, so no counter. That right counter even landed. It would have been wicked when he slid in off that angle. And boom, boom. Triple, boom, boom, boom. That would be nasty. I could see him going down with that. I could see him going down with it. Yeah, he'd stop Kovalev early. I think you might be right. He was a beast at light heavyweight too. That's how he got Virgil. Help me out here. Virgil. The legendary Hall of Famer. Virgil, whatever his name is. I can't remember. Intangible says, Jamal, in my opinion, lost to Korobov. Yes, sir. That is possible. Kovalev was hitting him. Korobov was hitting him with that left hook, like that right hook, too. I got Roy Jones beaten. I thought though that Jamal was doing some good work too. He was getting hit, but he was hitting Korobov back. So I might give him the decision. It was a close fight though. I got Roy Jones beating the Silverback Gorilla. Boxing Mo, see my avatar. Yes, sir. I see. You're a Roy Jones Jr. fan. That's good. He's a hell of a fighter. He just stayed too long, man. That motherfucker stayed too long in boxing. He's still going to fight Bernard Hopkins. I think Hopkins going to beat him, though. Afro-American thoughts. Roy in his prime was too much for anybody at light heavyweight. He's too fucking fast. He's quick. Tangible Box. Roy would have smoked Patterson, who was chinny. I know. Yeah, at heavyweight, that would have been a good fight. Patterson was strong, though. Virgil Hill. That's the name I'm looking for. I don't know why. African-American thoughts said Virgil Hunter. You stupid. Virgil Hill. That's the name I'm looking for. Yeah, he smoked him with a body shot. And I know he would smoke him with the left hook to the body. That shit would bring him down. African American thoughts. You deleted and said Virgil Hunter. You mixing up Michael Hunter. Michael Hunter's a good fighter too. He had heavyweight. Let me ask you guys a question though. I got Roy beating George Foreman and Zaire in 7 rounds. That's funny. I don't know about that one, buddy. I know George Foreman used to wing punches, but I don't think Roy's. I don't know. It's no. Nah. That ain't happening. He'd have been fast though. He'd been quicker than Foreman by light years. It'd been a hell of a fight. Foreman would look so clumsy and awkward, hooking like a gorilla. And Roy would just be tapping him on the shoulder. Hey, I'm over here. Roy Jones and George Foreman should make it happen in 2020. Foreman done with boxing, man. Foreman be eating like crazy. What's Foreman now? 300 pounds? Foreman used to knock people out with his jab. Man, that motherfucker used to knock people out with touch jabs and shit. He just trying to find you when you knock the guy out. His head was, he had heavy hands, boy. Heavy hands. Yeah, he had heavy hands. Let me ask you guys a good question. Who do you think would be a good matchup at heavyweight for a Canelo? If Canelo ever thought of going to heavyweight, remember he's 175 pounds. He's not going to get no heavier than that. But if Canelo was to go up to heavyweight and have a heavyweight fight, what would be a really good heavyweight matchup for him? Don't tell me Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz would kill him. So let's forget Andy Ruiz. Let's forget Deontay Wilder. Let's forget Anthony Joshua. Let's forget all them big dudes. A decent heavyweight fight. Anthony Joshua's like, no, he's not. I'm just being real with you guys. He's not a good matchup for Canelo. He's just way too big, man. He's 6 foot what? He's 6 foot. I think he's 6'6". Yeah, I mean, big. He's strong. Canelo will be hitting him in the balls instead of hitting. We need somebody who Canelo could fight. Who Canelo, is kind of comparative in size. A good matchup. Joseph Parker. That's a good. That's a good heavyweight. Parker's strong though. He's very strong. Size does matter in this case. Size does matter in this case. Okay? Listen, Canelo ain't going up to cruiserweight. He's never going to fight at cruiserweight. I don't think so. And if he does, he's going to have to pick a decent cruiserweight. But ain't nobody really that everybody knows in the world. Usyk, Usyk's, I mean, Bitterbeef was a heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? Usyk's, if Usyk put on some more mass, though, he's going to be hell for Canelo, right? I mean, Usyk, I don't know. At this present point in time, Usyk maybe. But you're talking about, the heavyweight division we're talking about now. So this is a totally different game. But I don't know. Joseph Parker's still big, man. He big for Canelo. He's a big dude for Canelo. Like, you're going to have to look for somebody who Canelo retires after his next fight, I predict. Nah, that'd be stupid, man. He got a lot of fights out there. No way. I hope not. But I'm just thinking about if Canelo was to go all the way up to heavyweight, who he could face that would be a good matchup. And the person would have to be entertaining. The person would have to be, a fighter who everyone's big up there. I know, but I'm just thinking about it. One heavyweight fight. That would be crazy. If he did that, he'd a GOAT. If he fought, he'd have to fight a heavyweight with the title, though. So I don't know. I don't know if he could do that. He could retire after that. I just don't. I don't see him even facing one of those cruiserweights. They're just way too big for him. See, there's a point at which okay, these guys are just too big for him. Like, it would make no sense for him to try and go up. Those guys are just way too big for Canelo. I guarantee Canelo calls out Ward and he would lose. That would be a dumb thing to do. If he calls out Ward, he's definitely going to lose. Definitely. 100%. Especially if Ward take the challenge. Ward will need two tune-up fights. He said he would need two tune-up fights. Canelo's not going to get an immediate fight. That's stupid. And after that, he can face Ward, but he's going to lose. He'll lose. He'll lose to Ward. But Ward is not interested in fighting anyway. That's what I think. I think he'd lose to Andre Ward. The guy prepares like nobody else's business. He's not just going. He's not like Kovalev and these guys. He's going to prepare. He knows how to win, first of all, and he's going to prepare. He's got all the muscle memory and everything. It's not even going to be. I mean, it's going to be somewhat competitive, but at the end of the day, Ward's going to win that fight. He's going to win it. He's not going to stop Canelo, but he's going to win it. All right. There's a difference between Sergey Kovalev and Andre Ward. There's a big difference between Andre Ward and any one of those light heavyweights out there, Virgil Hill is overrated. Plus, He's a deadbeat dad. Walked out on Keisha Cole. Oh, Keisha Cole's his daughter? Damn. I didn't know that. That's kind of cool, though. Celebrities. Andre Ward was the greatest super middleweight of all time by far. I'm thinking. Sugar Ray Leonard fought at super middleweight. Who else fought at super middleweight? Mike McCallum fought at super middleweight. You might be right. Tony. Roy. Roy didn't spend much time. Did Roy spend a lot of time at super middleweight? Not really. Ray had some good fights at super middleweight. He had the Donnie Lalonde, the Thomas Hearns, Berto Duran. And he wasn't a big super middleweight. Let's see. Andre Ward had Carl Froch, Mikhail Kessler, Sekio Bika, Arthur Abraham. Here's some fights. And he fought Chad Dawson. I don't know. He got a good case. Remember, the super middleweight division didn't come until Sugar Ray Leonard, so he has a good case. I like B-Up over Ward. Why? When you say like, you mean you like him more than Ward? That's what you mean? Or you mean B-Up would beat Ward? Because that shit, it just never was going to happen. Like, Ward would beat B-Up. And B-Up knew that. So he called him my little brother. You know, I'm not going to fight my little brother. B-Up over Ward. Are you kidding me? Intangible boxing. He laughs. That's possible. I like Jones Jr. over Ward. Nah, I got Ward beating Roy Jones Jr. You could be faster, quicker, more athletic. Don't make a difference. Andre would beat you, I think. I got Ward over Jones Jr. I mean, okay. Jones Jr. exclusively fought from the outside. He was an outboxer. So what's Ward going to do? Close the distance. Make it an infight. And then what happens to Roy? He gets knocked the fuck out. I know that sounds... And Andre don't like talking about it because he thinks of Roy as his favorite, but... Roy was quick. He would have thrown punches and stuff, and Andre would have looked awkward in the beginning. Andre got good enough defense. He would have get tagged a little bit, but at the end of the day, I think Andre would, because he got the angles and shit, he would walk down Roy, get to the inside, and stop him. Like all the other guys, like Glenn Johnson did. He'd use a two-guard. He used the two-guard, you know. Hopkins did it. I don't see him. I don't see Roy beating Andre. I don't see him beating. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. Y'all use a Rocky reference? You know what I think about the Rocky movies. Fucking stupid. I wouldn't even use a Rocky reference. Boy couldn't beat Adonis Creed. He's lucky he got hurt. Man, please don't do that. I do not like the Rocky movies for that reason. Because of their influence on boxing. You see, boxing is about angles. So even if you're very fast... Okay, take out Terrence Crawford took out Amir Khan. Amir Khan fast as fuck, right? Triple up the jab and was coming through. He didn't move his fucking head. So what happened? Terrence Crawford caught him with a left hook. And then when he was like, oh, he caught him with a second left hook and put him down, right? Why? Because he's coming down the wrong line against Terrence Crawford. Andre Ward is tricky like that. Now, he does come straight in at times and go under. But still, at the same time, he will slip a punch. So I could see Roy setting up the trap. Because Roy don't throw a lot of jabs. Setting up the trap for Andre so he could get the right angle. And realize he's coming down the wrong angle against Andre. See, that's the thing I'm seeing. Because Andre is not as fast as Ward, obviously. He's not as quick as Ward. He gonna be more methodical. Um, he'll get caught with maybe one or two punches, but he's not gonna get caught with combinations like the other boxers do against Roy, because Roy would set traps. He sets traps for you, and Andre Ward is smart enough to understand trap sets. And he gonna come in off of Roy by changing levels. He'll go low to high, coming off his jab. See, that's how you get him. So you go low to high to come off the jab, and Roy's an outboxer. He don't know nothing about fighting on the inside. So I could see Ward coming in on him that way, kind of like a Jake LaMotta versus Sugar Ray Robinson, kind of like Jack Dempsey versus that tall dude, kind of like Marcos Maidana versus Floyd Mayweather. He ain't gonna do the up jab thing. He gonna do the shotgun jab thing. He gonna do the spare. That's what Ward do. He was a one-handed fighter pretty much. I could see him hooking off the jab and shit like that. So that Roy finds it harder because Roy will have to change levels himself to be able to deal with Ward. Then I can see Ward putting the heat on him, pressure, and just raking it to the body. While Roy's kind of up on the ropes with a double guard, I could see him working the body. Andre, off of angles again. So I'm just saying, that's where my thought process is. You try to keep your defense as tight as possible, like Bitabiev. He's not the fastest dude in the world, but he try to keep his defense tight, stay low, and go high. American has no fundamental skills. American's hands are too fast for his own good. He come in with throwing a whole, kind of like Katie Taylor. Katie Taylor throw a whole set of punches. She ain't moving her fucking head. You got to move your head, man. Be coming in running in with a whole set of punches and you moving your head. Same thing with Pacquiao. He was used to do that. You can't do that shit, so you get tagged up. All the dude got to do is make sure you're going down the wrong line, and then boom, boom, you go. you're on the canvas because you're gonna take some punches. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like Roy didn't do that necessarily, but you could back him up. You could back him up. And I think Buddy's going to try and use that with Sergio Kovalev. He's going to have him drop levels and try and come at Canelo dropping levels. So he has the length advantage. It's going to work for a little bit. Canelo going to make an adjustment and then it's over. Now you got to try something else. But they're going to try and box him. Keep him on the outside. They're going to try and outbox him. They're going to do all kinds of things. I pretty much think. And like I said, I'm fancying Kovalev. I know he's gonna look good, at least early. He's gonna look good. Y'all gonna say, "See, it's not an easy fight for Canelo." That's what y'all gonna say. Then it's gonna end. Woo! That's how I think about it. That's what's going through my mind. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out in real. Dog, Kovalev beat Ward on the first fight, and Kovalev was thinking about that. That IG thought he slapped around. Oh, shit. I don't think he beat Ward in the first fight. I'm sorry. He dropped him. He did well through 4 rounds, and I thought Ward took most of the other rounds. From 5 through till 12, I thought Ward took it. Ward started fighting him on the inside, trying to get the inside and landing punches. Afro-American Thought says, I got Jones over Ward, just too much natural talent. Talent is not everything, bro. Skill, which is something you have to learn. See, the problem with Roy Jones Jr. was he never learned really good inside fighting. He throw flurries on the inside, but he wasn't really a good inside fighter. Didn't know how to angle his body and get his body into a certain position. He really wasn't good at that. That's his downfall. Most of the guys that beat him, except for Antonio Tarver, they beat him getting close to him so they could land that overhand right. Knock his ass out. You get punch drunk. He let Lou Duval catch him with a left and put him down because Lou Duval got close enough to do that. Can's wife, though, damn, well, she's fine. McGirt was trainer of the year, I think, in 2002. He a good fighter. He a good trainer and a good fighter, too. He was a great fighter, actually. Not great, but, I mean, he was a good fighter. He a Hall of Famer. Boxing Monster says, Is that a Star Wars trooper head? What is that? Oh, black belt, black belt. I got you. I got you. Hey man, I know you're a Roy Jones Jr. fan, so I understand. And you know what? I fancy Roy Jones Jr.'s chances because of his quick reflexes. You know, the fact that he did unorthodox styles. He combined a number of different styles and did things. So you know, I understand where you're coming from. I just think that the fundamentals of boxing. You know, Prince Nassim Hamed, Roy Jones Jr., um, Sugar Ray Leonard to a small extent because Sugar Ray Leonard used to use the fundamentals. They took other dimensions. You know, they were able to fight and adjust and do other things outside of just boxing. Manny Pacquiao also, you know, they were unorthodox and they brought a lot of pizzazz to boxing. But you know, honestly speaking, Barrera beat down Hamed because fundamentals. You know, you got to have your fundamentals. You know, Hopkins beat Roy the second time because of fundamentals. Um, you know, Tava beat Roy in his prime because of fundamentals. You know, you got to go back to the fundamentals. You can have all those things. See, that's the thing with Sugar Ray Leonard. He had all that extra stuff, and then he also had the fundamentals. You know, if you want to talk about Floyd to a lesser extent than Roy, Floyd was less flamboyant. He was beautiful to watch, and he had that pizzazz. He had that style. He had that what do you guys call it? He able to floss and shit in the ring and do some fanciful things, but he had the fundamentals. You gotta have the fundamentals. African American says the only person I possibly beaten Jones in his prime is maybe a prime Floyd Jr. I, I, I mean, Floyd copied Roy. You know, Floyd idolized Roy. A lot of things that Roy was wanting to do, Floyd did. And a lot of things that Roy was doing, the leaping, left hook and shit, Floyd started patting himself after. Andrew Ward was a big, well, obviously he's a big Roy fan. And he also borrowed things from Roy. So, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, Floyd, I had Floyd beating Roy again, just based on the fundamentals. The fundamentals is what makes the difference. But I got Ward beating Roy too. Yeah, for sure. Boxing Monster said Floyd can't fuck with Roy. I mean, Roy inspired Floyd, so Floyd borrowed a lot of stuff off of Roy. He did it in his own way, but he borrowed a lot of stuff off of Roy. Roy was a trendsetter. Roy's gonna be a boxing Hall of Famer, no doubt about that. Roy brought to us, or imagine, I used to throw that untelegraphed jab. I love what Roy used to do. I used to feint with my shoulder and then throw the jab after. I loved how he would do that fucking shoulder feint and then throw the jab, or he do the shoulder feint and then throw the left hook. You didn't know what the fuck Roy was gonna do next. You know what I'm saying? And that's what made Roy so beautiful. He was like set like a fucking serpent, you know, and then he would just strike. You know, it was beautiful to watch. It's quick, it was fast, you know. But like I said before, he didn't have inside game. That was his thing. You know, he didn't have inside game. And then certain things he got away with that was fundamentally wrong, he couldn't get away with when he got older, you know. But he got away with it. He was beautiful to watch, though. Sweet to watch. I'm not gonna lie to you. Boxing Monster, African American. Is that Dennis Rodman in your avatar? It looks so. African American thought said Floyd had the natural talent and skill. Yeah, he got God gifting and skill. The skill is what made him so different. The motherfucker, they always said it. Because he started boxing at the age of 1 year old, his skill is not something that looked technical. It looked natural. Like Floyd be throwing feints as he's moving around the ring. He'd be throwing feints like if it's just normal. And everybody biting on the feints because it looked like he's going to throw a punch, but he's not going to. But you don't know that. He make it look so natural, you know. But that's skill. That's something he learned, but he learned it so early in his life that, you know, the repetition, that became part of muscle memory. And he just, he said it, Floyd said it himself. He said, y'all ain't even seen my A game yet. I haven't even shown you my A game. He said there's no fighter that's pushed me to my A game yet. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people who seen Floyd spar, they've seen what he could do. And they was like, man, this motherfucker, he can do so much shit. You know? Not to big him up, but and I don't think he's the be all and end all of boxing. Don't get it twisted. But I'm just saying, when you start so early, Shakur Stevenson, he started when he was a wee little baby. Some of these boys been fighting since they kids, like little things. They can't even talk and they be boxing. It's totally different when you're doing it like that. You know. You know. So, I mean, that's what you're looking at. You know, Javante Davis, you saw him. It was a little baby. They got pictures of him. Little boy, like he's like what, 7? You know, little kid. Been boxing. So these motherfuckers, they on a whole other level, you know what I mean? Whole other level. Boxing Monster said Floyd has brittle hands and Zab has some time, but Zab was past his prime. What? I don't understand. Zab was not past his prime when he faced Floyd. What are you talking about? He was just the year before the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. He got stripped of some of his titles, and then the dummy went and lost to Carlos Baldomir. Like he didn't take him seriously. Zab's problem, why he lost fights, was his mentality. He was in ridiculous shape. Fantastic boxing, lots of skill. Mentor was Pernell Whitaker. This motherfucker always getting thrown out of his game. Always getting thrown out of his game. That was his problem. Could Zab have beaten Floyd? Fuck yeah. Mental. He just up here, not all together, man. That was the problem with Zab. Incredible fighter. Incredible fighter. Here's what it is. He lost to Costa Zoo because he popped up too quickly. He should have taken a knee, chilled out, get his head together, and then got up. He got up and fell back down. I mean, man, Zab always making mistakes and shit. And that's the problem with Zab. Unbelievable talent. Unbelievable skill. Unbelievable. You know, everything Floyd could do, Zab could do. You know, it was unbelievable. But it is what it is. Zab Judah, man, incredible dude. Incredible dude. It is what it is, though. African American Thought says one of Floyd's best performances was against Canelo. Yeah. Pretty much shut him out. Competitive at certain rounds, but he shut him out. African American Thought says Floyd is my favorite boxer. What are some of y'all favorite performances by Floyd? I don't want to talk about Floyd right now, though. I just mention him every now and then because he's the gold standard to certain things in boxing. Not everything, but certain things. I don't want to talk about Floyd like that right now. But yeah, Boxing Monster says his best performances was against Sugar Shane Mosley. He was out on his feet, recovered, adjusted, and controlled the rest of the fight. Zab had lost to Zoo. He beat the greatness out of him. I don't think so. Because if he lost to Zoo, he came back and won the super lightweight title. Then he went on to, that was much later on. But he became undisputed welterweight champion of the world. I don't think he beat the greatness out of him. No, not at all. I think Zab, boy, Zab popped up too quick. He got caught nicely. He was trying to roll. He was trying to ride the punch, and he got caught. And he went down. He went down like a ton of bricks. That was fucking funny. And then he popped back up, and he realized his head was still spinning, and he fell back down. It was funny as hell. And just the way how Costa looked at the whole thing, and when he realized he won, he raised his hand like, yay! The whole thing's comical. But having said that, I thought Zach could have continued to fight. Would Zua beat the brakes off of him? Probably. But maybe not. I don't know. But I do know that loss really affected him some. But he still went on to become a world champion again. And then even after he lost the IBF title to Floyd, he went on to become a world champion yet again. So he was a hell of a fighter. And he fought everybody. If you look at it, he's fought everybody. You know what I mean? He and DeMarcus Corley. Afro-American Thought says Floyd had a strong legs for stand up against Shane. Shane's blow. Yeah, he's well conditioned. Again, your conditioning allows you to be able to do that shit. Not only did he stay up against Shane, but he also was able to, by the end of the round, he was walking down Shane, landing body punches on him. So yeah, he was physically strong. And Shane could crack. Shane could fucking crack. Afro-American Thoughts. The Shane performance is one of my favorites also. Shane had him picture perfect right. He had him, but he didn't really have him. Shane knew that. He knew you can't just hit Floyd with one punch. Like, you have to hit him with like a bunch. He's not going to go down just with one punch. And you're not going to be able to catch him with a bunch. That's the problem. He'll stay close to you, and he'll just ride your body movement. His body move with your body, and then he counter all your shit. So that's what Floyd did. As soon as Shane hit him the first time, he clinched up on him, and he went right up on him. Body to body. Shane didn't know how to roughhouse. And that shit, what you supposed to do, forearm his ass off or elbow him off, rough him up so you could get your shots over. That's what, again, you saw that with Josh Taylor. He roughed up Regis. You got to deter them from clinching. And Floyd's strong. He can clinch up on you and he's like lock onto you like a fucking leash. So you got to elbow his ass. You got to rough him up. Rough him up. If you lose on DQ, fuck that. Because you're not going to beat Floyd just trying to box him. So you have to rough his ass up. And he's physically strong. So when he locks up on you, you better have a free hand somewhere. Because if he locks down the next hand, you ain't doing shit. You might be able to headbutt him. Or bite his ass. But, you got to rough up those guys. You got to rough them up. Straight up boxing them doesn't make no sense. And it's fair. If the referee allow you, if you headbutt him, that's like Victor Ortiz headbutt him. I'm not really mad at Victor Ortiz. It's a fight. Trying to get to this motherfucker, you can't get to him. Man, headbutt his ass. And Floyd be complaining. When he's complaining, look, Marcus Maidana headbutt Adrian Broner too. Headbutt him. Shit. Broner be complaining and shit. Man, headbutt his ass. You got to get him out of his game somehow, some way. African American Thought said, yeah, Zab got up way too quick. Yep. He got up and started fighting his dad. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, it's sad that Floyd never really faced guys like what's his name? Oh shit, it's very late in the night. I gotta go. But he never faced guys like Sean Porter. Porter would have roughed him up. He'd have roughed him up. Floyd's strong too, and Floyd know how to keep that distance. So he might have distant man in Sean Porter trying to lunge in, but it would have been something though to watch. It'd be something to watch. So yeah, you gotta rough up those kinds of guys. You can't fight them clean. You gotta fight them dirty. Tyson said it. Marcus Maidana did it. That's what kept Marcus Maidana in that fight, made it competitive. You gotta beat the shit out of him. You gotta beat him down one way or another. Yeah, hit him some low blows too. Hit him some low blows. He could complain how much you want. Hit him low blow. Every now and then, stray a little low. Hit him on the hip. Hit him on the hip if you can get it. Hit him anywhere. You know what I'm saying? These guys, you got to rough them up. You got to rough them up. That's the only way you're going to be competitive. It's the only way you might get the W. You might get your hands raised. Especially he's a superstar. Everybody favoring him. Everybody's looking at him. You're going to have to beat the shit out of him. Literally, you're going to have to beat the shit out of him to win that fight. You got to make it look like you are in control. And you alone. And he's not even in the fight. You got to make it look like that. Whether it's so or not. That's the only way you're going to get to those. And he's strong. So he's fucking strong too. You're not just going to just be able to do that to him. And you saw Floyd started teeing off on Maidana. Maidana was trying to throw some really heavy bombs. Floyd started teeing off on his ass. So Maidana said, you know what? Inside this pocket a little too hot. He back off. So they say Floyd can't hit. But I know. Truthfully, he can hit. He just don't do it much. He tried to save his hands, but if he got to go teeing off on your ass, he gonna tee off on you. But he don't do it because of his hands. But if he breaking the bones in his hands, he realizes his knuckles and shit gonna be broken. Man, he gonna still let them levers fly. He ain't gonna have the knuckles, but fuck that. I'm gonna let it fly. I'm gonna deal with those hands later. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, man, guys, I gotta go turn on lights and shit. I've been talking to you guys for the longest while, but yeah, I want to talk about a couple other things. So let me just get them in. One, I noticed they don't promote women's boxing. There's going to be two women's fights over this weekend. All right, we got Katie Taylor versus the super lightweight champion of the world, and then we also got the Estradas. Both of them are surname Estrada. They're gonna be fighting each other for the super bantamweight title of the world. Nobody's talking about this shit. Nobody. And I find that sad because I've noticed, even when I was looking at the roster of upcoming fights, and I was looking at it on BoxingScene.com, this dude was covering the upcoming fights. They left out the woman, the title fights, that is, upcoming title fights. They left out the woman. And I just don't understand that shit. Like, I mean, what does that have to do with money and promotion? You could at least mention it. There are women boxing as well as men. Why are you leaving this shit out? I even noticed BoxRec, when they're looking at overall rankings, they only got the men. You know, when they talk about world champions and they have them on display, they only got the men world champions. They got nothing on the women. And I'm like, why are you guys doing this? Like, you're doing like they don't exist. Like, what's up with that? You know? And so I just wanted to discuss that because we got two world championship titles. There's also going to be a men's world championship title also. Top Rank's going to be featuring it on ESPN. Aside from the Sosa versus Berchelt fight, there's another one for another title as well, and that's also some good shit. But I wanted to mention that because I noticed that women get the short end of the stick all the time, and they got to promote their own fucking fights. These two women had to go up on social media and have people interview them. And the other cool thing about this, the Estrada fight, is it's actually going to be 3 rounder. I think it's 12 3 rounds. So that's pretty cool. That's new again for women's boxing, and they were able to pull that off and have that kind of fight. So they're going to be having that. I think the other woman's coming up in weight to face the other woman. So it's going to be a good fight. And it's with Golden Boy, I think it is, that they're both signed to. So I'm looking forward to that fight as well. I have not looked at the women fighters to see what kind of styles they have and whatever. But I'm going to be looking at more women's boxing. I know that a lot of women's boxing is not as sophisticated as men's boxing. I got you guys on that. I heard you guys before. But I want to see them develop and come to a level where we have more high quality fights in women's boxing. That's my point. If you got men boxers and you got women boxers and you got women in boxing already, then come on, let's just have a go at that, right? Now you guys talk about Lucia Riker and how she was beaten by a man. Y'all never said it was in kickboxing. She never had a boxing fight with a man, you know. So I mean, I'm just saying, the way to fight Floyd is bait to be the aggressor. Yeah, you gotta kind of counter punch him. You gotta trick him. You gotta do a little bit of everything. Boxing Monster. Who's the best at cutting the ring off? Currently, you got a couple of them. Um, you got a couple fighters who could do it pretty well. Andy Ruiz is doing it pretty well. BF does it pretty well. Um, what's we got? What else have I seen recently that was doing it pretty well? Um, who else was cutting off the ring pretty well? I can't say anybody else right now. Canelo don't do that. Canelo don't really cut off the ring, right? Canelo's different to Mexican fighters in that respect. He let you come to him. He's a counterpuncher. So he don't really cut off the ring. He does get his punches in, but he doesn't cut off the ring. So he's not one. I don't know who else. Who else do you guys suggest? Boxing Monster says women need to stick to mud wrestling. What the fuck? What the fuck? That's so sexist. On so many different levels. Then I gotta go with the plants outside. Then I gotta go get something to eat. Women do they do football. I see women leagues in football. They got bikini football. They got the normal football. Yeah, the women be doing WWE wrestling. They be doing a lot of wrestling and shit. Motherfuckers be flying off of things and be beating the shit out of each other and shit. Listen, man, women could do whatever the fuck they want to do in terms of contact sports. And you got to understand, in my opinion, um, I think that the thing with women is they've been in the army, they've been in the military. You got women who are police officers. We got women that fucking. The thing about women today, I think, is especially the fit ones. They strong as fuck, dude. They strong as fuck. They strong as fuck. I'm not gonna lie to you. They look great, but they strong as fuck too. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not playing with you guys. I mean, if you guys, you work, you do your fitness and shit, that's good. But them motherfuckers sometimes they more fit than you and me, man. They be doing some, especially the squats, which squats is great for you. But their core body strength and then their fucking squat strength, they take you down easy. I was watching live a women's foot. Well, it wasn't a women's football. It was mixed football match with women and men playing football against each other. It was a casual thing. A motherfucking women was tackling guys and taking their motherfucking ass down. Guys was tackling a woman too. They wasn't taking it easy on them. And I was like, I don't think he's throwing a fucking football. Like, I was like, what the fuck? You see them in their heels and their dress and they looking all nice and everything, sexy and shit. But them motherfuckers, man, just look at, because remember, a lot of people get it twisted. Strength is not based on how big your muscles are. You can have lean muscle mass and be fucking ripped like shit and be strong as fuck, right? In fact, Clarissa Shields showed this woman. She's like 126, and she was lifting like 400 and something fucking pounds. I was like, what the fuck? She's lifting four times her fucking weight? What the fuck? I'm telling you, bro. These women out here, man, they strong as fuck, okay? And obviously, people, back in the days, back in the 70s and 60s, and there was a time when they used to frown against women lifting weights and doing gym training and having muscle mass and shit. They got it down to a science now, right? Where they still look feminine, they still look beautiful, but fucking ripped as shit. Like when they really started going to the gym and you see their muscles start to pump, you're like, what the fuck? They're not big muscles. There's lean muscle mass. But this shit be, I mean, look, man, they strong as fuck. Okay. And so, like, for those people who don't understand, the times have changed completely from the times, and I'm not saying that well, some of them could kick my ass for sure, but I'm not saying that and then they know jujitsu, they know all these other martial arts. Some of them grow up in a boxing family, so they just be everybody be fighting in that family, and so they got to fight too. You know what I'm saying? You in a fighting family, and you got brothers who be beating the shit out of you, especially the last ones, the youngest ones. Yeah, boys not supposed to beat up on girls, but when the parents turn their heads and shit, they be beating on their ass. You know that. They toughen you up, and so they're the women who are like a little bit more tomboyish than and then they learn the girly ways and shit, but they tough as fuck, dude. I know I have some neighbors next door, and two of their daughters, man, they used to be climbing trees and be using slingshots and shit and shooting each other and shit, and they get black eyes, and I was worried. One time, one climbed up on a house and fell off the roof, and she hit her head on the ground. I was like, good God Almighty, she dead. And she just got up and she didn't even cry or nothing. She just dusted off and went. I was like, fuck. That's the kind of women that are out here. They be doing different things. You know what I'm saying? I think we need to get accustomed to the times, and we are still men. We are still leaders in society. Yeah, but it's just that we need to understand how you lead as a man and how you be a man. A lot of people think that being a man is, testosterone. We're physically strong, and yeah, we're a man, and you can drink and all that shit. That's cool. I mean, That's cool. That's an aspect and dimension of it, but that's not everything, man. That's not everything. And you guys who are fathers, you know this shit better than I do because I'm not a father. You know the responsibility that it really comes with being a man. You don't have to be feminine and shit to be a man. You can be quiet. You don't have to be flexing your muscles on people to be a man. You know what it is. There's things about being a man that is, it's subtle shit, but it leaves you with the final say because you're somebody who's the sense of reasoning. Some people say that men are more logical than women more emotional than men. I don't know how true that is. I mean, that's a saying. But what I can say is, I am a logical person. Okay? I can be emotional, but I always try to go back to logic. Okay? Um, so that's how I look at things. Men can be very emotional. They can be very loud and reckless and stuff like that too. So it's not like it's a one-way street, but I just think that there's there the advantages that men and women are just totally different in that respect. Emotionally and mentally, they're different. They're just different animals. But in terms of like thinking that these some of these women are just weak and soft and sexy and they should be objects of we must be able to just oogle them. Hey, dude, I gotta say this to you guys. Yeah, we're gonna oogle them, no doubt about that. They sexy and all that shit, and they do all that shit. But don't get it twisted. Some of them can fight. Like they can fight their asses off. They really are. They really can fight. They can fucking fight. All right. And all you got to do it don't take too take too far to see that you know some of these motherfuckers, man. You just watch it. If you guys have been watching anything, you see that they can do it. Yeah, they be using steroids and shit too. Like, man, so some of them be on the juice, but you don't need to be bulky and big and strong. As a woman to be strong. And we know this from many things. Many people we've seen it. You look at gymnasts, for example. Them women flexible, but they fucking strong. Don't get it twisted. Flexibility is one thing, but they strong. You see some of them fall on their head. They fall and they fall on their. I mean, they get some nasty falls. They get back up and dust it off and just keep going. I'm like, good God Almighty, you almost broke your neck. You know what I'm saying? And we see men too in gymnastics, and they take some nasty falls, and them motherfuckers just get back up and just go. I'm like, you see them crying for shit like, man, I lost the belt. They be crying. These motherfuckers be crying because they didn't win the championship, or they crying because they slip off a beam. They not crying because they got hurt. This is the crazy shit. They tough, man. Whether it's men or women, they tough. And it's just a certain mindset to fighting that a fighter. Somebody who's a fighter. They might look good and all that shit. They may be even, dressed up sexy and shit. Don't get it twisted. That's a fighter you watching there. And you have to just know, you just have to know them because of their mindset. And that's how I'm looking at boxing right now. I'm looking at the fighters, the gladiators. Back in the day, they used to have assassins who were women, right? And they get you however they can get you, whether it's by seduction, whatever the fuck way, whether it's hand to hand combat, whether I got to go straight at your ass and kill you, you know, they never were as strong as some guys, right? So they had to use tactics and skill and the art of war. But don't get it twisted, man. A lot of them fucking fight. They could just fucking fight. It's just what it is. And so that's my point. And I think we need to give women's boxing because every other fucking sport, women are in it and they are attraction. Okay, if y'all ever seen bikini football, that fucking shit is violent, right? And it reminds me of Australian football because I think it's more dangerous than because you don't have as much padding, right? You don't have as much padding. It's just crazy, man. And the things a woman be doing, and then because of the stigma attached to them, they have to be so much better than sometimes men to be even considered, you know. And I find that sad. So just like how you have this stigmatism based on ethnicity, you have the stigmatism based on gender. And I think some of it needs to be, we just need to take a chill pill, back off a bit, stop thinking that, oh, this woman trying to be a man. They're not trying to be men. They woman, right? But that there's space for everybody to do their thing. If somebody grew up fighting, that's what they do. Boxing is their salvation. They found something so that they could actually be positive in the world. And you saying, oh, it's a woman, blah, blah. Come on, man. We got to give them all a chance. We got to give everybody a shot, everybody a chance out here. Don't expect that a young growing sport when it comes to women's boxing to be on the level of a men's boxing. You just can't that's bullshit, man. Boxing took so many years to develop, even that you can't expect that. But what you can say is give these people a shot, give them a chance. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. And I was introduced to this shit by EJ Boxing Live. And fans are so fucking fickle. Sometimes we get turned off from a fighter that had nothing to do with their fighting in the ring. It's shit that had to do nothing with the fighter, and be like, oh, I don't like that fighter. I'm like, what the fuck that had to do with their fighting? Such a Kovalev. He said some racist shit. Does that mean I don't like him as a fighter? Does that mean I just disown everything about him that I don't like? Oh, fuck no. I told you I still like him. He could be racist as fuck. I like the dude. All right? I don't care. I like him. And why do I like him? I like that he was a guy that against all odds made it to the big stage. He made it to the big stage. Okay? He paid his dues. He had it hard. He had it rough. He had, nobody was recognizing him. He was fighting in the dark. You know what I'm saying? But he made it to the big stage. He's a self-made man. And that's why he kind of called a lot of shots with John David Jackson, because he knew what he wanted, for himself. I could give him mad props for that. The man do almost everything on his own. This motherfucker be drawing lines. He be training on his own and shit. He's self-motivated. So it's something that, to me, you got to root for a guy like that. I would like him to win. I would like, honestly, I wouldn't have a problem with him winning against Canelo. He'll do so much for him. He could retire after that if he wanted to, but he won't. He will face the other guys at light heavyweight. And I would be happy for him. I really would, you know. And my point being, in boxing, you got to stick to boxing. You got to stick to boxing. A lot of people, they look at other things outside of boxing, but you can't be saying, I hate or like this fighter because of something outside of boxing. You got to stay, as a boxer, I like this guy, okay? As a boxer, I can learn a lot from him. I can take a lot from him. That's why I like him. You know, do I approve of him being a racist? Fuck no. Do I like it? No. But at the end of the day, when it comes to his boxing, the man on point. The man's a self-made dude. The man made it there when all the odds said he wouldn't make it. He wasn't gonna be that kind of dude. He attracted attention to the light heavyweight division. He brought the light heavyweight division to the forefront. Now it's flaming like fire. We got a lot of Eastern European fighters in the light heavyweight division, and we like them. I never thought I would like Eastern European fighters, but they bring different things to the table now, and I'm actually appreciating some of their style. You know, before that, I was like, man, I hate that stupid ass jab style and straight upright fighting. But now I'm seeing all kinds of variations of shit. And of course, I should have known from Dmitry Pirog that I should have enjoyed the styles. There's more to it than that meets the eye, but and the Eastern European fighters, man, they doing their shit. They doing their shit. You got to give them their props. I like B2BF. I like Bivol my favorite, actually, out of all of them. Even though he has his limitations, I actually like him as a fighter. And again, I love their honesty. Bivol's just straight with it. B2BF is straight with it. Kovalev straight with it. They honest guys. I like their honesty about the boxing game. And all of that just kind of makes me like them. So that's basically it, really. I got to say right now, even like I said before, even if Canelo stops Kovalev, I'm going to still have respect for that dude. And I hope he gets a couple more fights at the light heavyweight division. But I hope he retires before the game retires him. That's what I'm hoping for. Because with that vulnerability he has, the game could easily retire him. And I don't want that to happen. So I'm hoping that, he does he got one more fight probably in him. And then he should just hang it up. I don't think he got more than one more fight left in him. Especially after this Canelo fight. I don't know, man. I don't know if he's going to have any fight left in him. But we'll see. I'm wishing the best to him, though. I hope he can win. get a W. I hope he don't have to take all that punishment. You know, um, I wish him the best. You know, Boxing Master says, okay, women shouldn't stick to mud wrestling, baby oil wrestling. My bad. I hear you, bro. I hear you. They got that though. They got that down already. They already doing that shit. I'm not gonna lie to you though. I understand the attraction to women in terms of their form and stuff. So I'm with you on that too. But and I'm not trying to be a dog or anything. I'm just saying. Boxing Monster says Kovalev is a dog beater. Let me guess. You're one of those Peter group peoples. Ooh. And one thing we know, if you try to dog him in the ring, he gonna beat your ass. He did that to Jean Pascal. And you know Jean Pascal's a dog. Boxing Monster says, nah. I hear you, man. You guys have been fun talking with. We're gonna talk some more boxing um very soon. Um, I was listening to. I did not listen to D Styles' little group meeting, the little get together they have online recently. I really do want to add a little bit of wrinkles to the. It's almost 7 o'clock. Wrinkles to the little extra stuff that I do. What I mean by that is, I want to have you guys be able to call in live on this, so you guys can voice your opinions and just call in and we can have a little like a talk show kind of thing. So I'll listen to you guys' opinions. Maybe I'll put my input wherever, but you guys get to have some more say. So we'll try and get that going so that you guys can actually do that. How will it work? It'll work really easy. All you will have to do is using either Disco. I forgot what the name of it is. You can use different like there are different software where you can actually speak through it audibly, and it will either record you or it'll do live stuff. You could even use Hangouts. I think we could even use Hangouts where you could talk through Hangouts, and I could get it projected out here. So when you're talking through the Hangout, I would be recording the Hangout, and then you can hear it through another phone. So I could have the Hangout right there, Google Hangouts on the phone. You talking through the Google Hangouts, and it's recording out here. But I don't think I can host Google Hangouts. I don't think I can do that. So maybe somebody else like Tommy Temper might have to do that. So if I have two phones, I could actually have you guys. I guess Tommy Temper or somebody else can man the lines, and we can do it. So you guys can actually talk and give your opinions and stuff. That would be really cool. Especially Intangible Boxing. He got a lot of opinions. I like Intangible, man. Intangible, you know, he says his stuff, man. I like how he stays with his stuff and too and holds his opinion. Hybrid 95 also, I got respect for them. You know, of course, my boy Get the Smoke and Tommy Temper. Shout out to them. Shout out to all the people supporting this channel. Don't forget though, you can also donate to this channel. I always say that over and over again. I'm gonna say it forever. And it's via Western Union MoneyGram, but you can do it all your transactions online, which means that you can. I can just give you the details, and you can also donate online. So that's kind of cool. So I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm out of here. That was today, which is what is today? Tuesday. Shit, I should have gone and watched a movie. Anyway, yeah, I spent time with you guys instead. They can't flux with me. I hear you. Oh, they can't flux with me. I hear you, dude. I hear you, man. You know your boxing, man. You guys know your boxing. I'm gonna be out of here for a minute, but I'll catch you guys sometime. Sometime probably tomorrow. We'll do some prediction videos as well. I think tomorrow's Wednesday, right? What's today? So we'll do some prediction videos. I gotta go out and get something to eat. Um, Fortunately, I finished off all the food. So I'm gonna catch you guys later. And I gotta fix this phone too. I cracked my glass. It smashed up into a million pieces on me. But anyway, I'll catch you guys later. And peace to you guys. Stay safe. Keep God first. Oh, that's another thing. AKI TV said something that was really important. Not everybody here believes in God, but I do believe in God. And I noticed that a critical part of a lot of guys who were very successful in boxing Andre SOG Ward, you know, he gave God praise and glory, and because of that, I think that was integral into him not having taken a loss in his career. Floyd Mayweather was the same thing. I listened to Errol Spence say the same thing, giving praise to God. I think God is the center of everything. And I'm a Christian. Don't live up to that Christian behavior these days, but I'm trying to be what I am supposed to be. And, you know, when you have God at the center of your focus, ladies and gentlemen, as much as you may screw up and mess up, it really makes a big difference in your life, you know. And for those people who believe in overcoming and being an overcomer, you know it's never over. You saw with Adonis Stevenson, where they talk about God and God giving him the chance, the second opportunity to live. You've seen it with countless people who've overcome adversity. And one of the things about boxing I like is whether you see it as that or not, it's overcoming a challenge or, you know, being victorious over a challenge or overcoming adversity. I think it's one of the beautiful things about boxing amongst many other things. But of course, it's a kill or be killed sport. It's serious business. You can die in that ring. Um, I have stopped training. I've stopped everything. I have not been really being in shape. I'm out of shape right now. I've been eating properly, but other than that, I've not been doing anything else right. I did some abs the last couple of days, and man, I felt like I was an old dude. I felt every single inch of my 44 years. So I gotta get back to it. You guys stay good, stay healthy, stay strong. I'm gonna catch you guys later. Peace.